God, grant me serenity to accept things I cannot change, courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Go!
I get a little bit nervous on stage, but if you want what we have to offer and are willing to make the effort to get it, and are ready to take certain steps, these are principles that made our recovery possible. One, we admitted that we are powerless over our addiction, that our lives have become unmanageable. Two, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Three, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Four, we made a searching for this moral inventory of ourselves. Five, we moved to ourselves into another human being the extended nature of our wrongs. Six, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Seven, we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Eight, we made all persons who had home and defended any and make amends to them all. Nine, we made recommendations whenever possible, except when it would injure them or others. 10, we continue to take personal inventory when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood His saying only for knowledge of His will for us and power to carry that out. 12, after that spiritual awakening, as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and practicing principles in our affairs.
Sounds like a big order.
It sounds like a big order, we can't do it all at once. There's one thing more than anything else that will defeat us in our recovery, this attitude of indifference and tolerance toward spiritual principles. Three of these that are indispensable are honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to learn. We are well on our way. We feel that our approach to the disease addiction is completely realistic, where the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. We feel that our way is practical for the addict and best understand and help another addict. We believe that the sooner we fix our problems within our society and everyday living, just that much faster we do become acceptable, responsible, productive members of that society. The only way to keep from returning to active addiction is not to take the first drug. If you are like us, you know that one is too many, and a thousand is never enough. We put great emphasis on this, but we know that when we use drugs in any form or substitute one for another, we release our addiction all over again. Thinking of alcohol is different from other drugs has caused us a great addict relapse. Before we came in, and many of us use alcohol separately. We cannot afford to do something. Alcohol is a drug with the disease of addiction. We must abstain from all drugs in order to recover.
Good job.
I'm proud.
Human being, really. I don't even know how. I think I've been in trouble for 25 years. Of course, that some of you are not even born. But I did not want to miss this occasion tonight. I'm correct. Look, some of you don't know. Some of you don't. How many of us here have been here with crash before? There's a few of us. Okay. See, some of us who most of you, you're angels compared to Crash. Crash, his name came up in a meeting the whole time he was here every week. Now, he was a bad man. Now, I'll tell you what, think about it. You come to the CAAIR, they hire you for a job, they fire you, and they hire you again. That says something. Let me tell you what it really says. All the hell he caused while he was here, and he caused more pain than you can ever imagine. You know what? Those people over there, they saw something in him. That's why he's back again. My prayer is that somebody times I came. Or another time in prison. I tell you that to say this. You know what? That guy's a miracle. My praise that you'll be a miracle. Honestly, you know what? Believe it or not, I know some of you don't believe it right now. But literally, people can change. The question is, do you believe it about you? He's a changed man today. It's a privilege for me to work with him. Come on, Brad.
There's Burgess, the gangster man on the planet. Alright, do me a favor. All y'all, stand up. 1 minute of silence for people out there that will never make it here. Thank you for that. So, my name is Christopher Rouse. My sobriety date is March 1st, 2018. Everything I ever do, I do for each one of you standing here right now. For everybody out there that will make it here. So I was born July 26, 1977, and I was born in Shawnee, Oklahoma. I was a 6-month baby, which means I was born at 6 months. I was born very premature. Spent the first 3 months and 3 weeks of my life in an incubator. Never should have made it then. I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my legs. Wasn't developed. Yeah, smacky, you get the drill. So, went home. I was this big. I was as big as from the crook of my elbow to the forearm. I was that big. They could give me a bath in a button hole. Damn, I was pretty. So, the first part of my life, my first memory was that I was beat real bad. Matter of fact, my first cognitive memories is that I was abused in ways that a child should never be abused. So that happened. I was kidnapped. I was 4 when I was kidnapped. I was taken to Enid, Oklahoma, and more of the same. My grandfather came, rescued me. My grandfather was my hero. My grandfather was my hero for much of my life. My grandfather was also a raging alcoholic. So after that happened, it was me and Mom, house, you know what I mean? I was kind of with my grandparents and all that. Other than that little episode, everything was fairly normal. Mom was a hard worker. My mother did not do drugs. Mom didn't drink, you know what I mean? Papa was an alcoholic. Grandma, she was kind of one of the closet alcoholics, you know. We'll get the rest of that. So while I met my dad, my stepfather, who is my dad, I call him my dad because he is my dad. I don't care about steps. Steps is what you step on. It's not what my father was. My father was my hero. Married him, life got good. You know what I mean? Mom, dad worked. I'm brought up in a very square family. You know, no drugs, no alcohol, no sad story there. Mom, dad worked all the time, latchkey kid, grew up on myself, whatever. More critical for me, etc. and so forth. But there it is. I was not a product of a childhood other than the first part of my life that should have equated drugs and alcohol, because I was raised in real strong morals. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. Airborne Ranger, mom works, I mean, it is what it is, okay? Okay. So, went through school was good, played sports my whole life, whatever. When I was 11 years old, we decided we were going to move to New Jersey. Before that, so I was a fat kid through school, I fought a lot, I was bullied a lot, I learned right then that I didn't like bullies, and I wasn't going to be a bully. As a matter of fact, I was going to figure out a way to beat every bully up I found. So it's a story for later on, but just to pre-warn. 11, decided I was going to move to New Jersey. Day I was going to leave New Jersey, my best friend hung himself. Lived down the street from me, he was my very best friend. So I moved to New Jersey, got up there. So I went from a school of, and I always say, I say 65, I believe I had school 65, I moved to school of over 1,000 people. And I had a southern accent. In New Jersey. So life was very interesting, moved up there and fought a lot all the time because naturally I had a southern accent, the girls loved it, the dudes did not. You know what I mean? You ever seen Jersey Shore? Kind of like that, but stupider. So, real. You know what I mean? This was the end of the 80s and it was just weird. So, moved from that school, so they found a house in the school, didn't know anything about New Jersey. Apparently the realtor thought it was hilarious that we would move in. And where we moved at, we moved into East Trenton, Chambersburg, Lawrenceville area. And it was interesting because, well, it was ghetto. You know what I'm saying? And so imagine moving from Shawnee, Oklahoma to this way. Learned real quick, got to fight real fast. Was going through school, and so at the end of my 6th grade year, I had to write a poem about John Livingston Seagull. Okay? So I wrote this poem, and my teacher, and this is, my teacher calls my parents. We don't know what to do with little Johnny because we think little Johnny's crazy. And I was like, wrote a poem about a seagull. What are we talking about here? Apparently writing a poem about a seagull that flies up, falls down, burns to the ground, and dies in a flaming explosion constituted the fact that I was suicidal with my teachers. No kidding. So kind of what my dad did, but it was serious enough that they talked to my mom and dad into putting me in my first of a long series of mental health institutions. So when I was 12 years old, entered a mental health institution called Hampton in West Hampton, New Jersey. They had an adolescent unit. Adolescent was full. I got put in with the adult unit. You know what I got to hear in the adult unit? What's the reason? And I was like, I want to get all that more. You know what I mean? Because I'm 12 years old. These guys are talking about running around, living life, doing cocaine, screwing horse, slamming Cadillac doors, and everything else that was going on. I wanted a piece of that because that sounded great. I wasn't raised like that, but I sure didn't want to be that. So, needless to say, I got out of that with a bag full of pills and a long list of diagnoses at the age of 12 years old before I really had any sense, because that's what psychiatry does. And so went home, went to school, discovered that I was now a superstar, and girls wanted to have sex with me because I was crazy, and the guys thought I was crazy, so they didn't want to beat up on me anymore. Well, I wanted to reinforce that because I had a bunch of bullies before I went to the nut house the first time. I had a bunch of people that were picking on me. So I made it a point, my first week at school, I went up and I started punching the hardest one I could, right in the face. I did that because out of fear, and I did that because I've been bullied, and I did that because I couldn't take it anymore, because mental health is a real thing. And because of the fact I wanted to prove a point, and because of the fact that I wanted to be somebody. See what I'm saying? So, did all that right. So I did all that, and they were convinced right then that I was still insane. They did not kick me out of school. What they did is they decided I had to go play football. So they put me in PBA football. I went and played football, man, and it was good. It was now, you know what I mean? It was sports. I played sports the whole time I was in Oklahoma, you know what I mean? Moved to New Jersey, started playing sports. It was great. Everything was going good. Started to come off the pills at the age of 13. And it was at 13 that I found two things. I found sex and I found LSD. And fairly certain that that's when everything really went downhill really fast. Because when I say I found LSD, what I meant to say was I found my absolute love. Because there was nothing about that drug that I didn't love. So, after everything, because, I mean, everything got weird. You know what I mean? I like weird. You know what I'm saying? I really love weird. I found out I loved it a lot. And so that happened. I continued to play sports, doing good, whatever you got going, right? So, going on, I made sure, but that's when I started to figure out that the more friends you cultivate that do drugs that you like, you get more drugs. Right? Started to form a whole plan. So went on, what happened, and when I was 13 years old, I decided one day that I was sick and tired of life because girlfriend broke up with me, and I was out of acid, and I had smoked. No, I got drunk because alcohol was my second drug. So I got drunk on some Cardi rum. I woke up hungover, and I was the disappointment of all mom and dad's life. I sucked life, and everything was worthless, and I was going to be a worthless drug addict. I was going to go to prison and all this shit. And so I decided I didn't want to live anymore. So I went, I found my mom's stash, and I ate 100 amitriptyline in five seconds. I called my best friend, and I was like, dude, it's done. Well, he told his mom, I'm calling 911. 911 shows up. 911 shows up. My dad's like, what the hell are you doing here? Chris! I'm up there, I'm drooling. I don't even remember, except I remember hearing, what the frick are you going? I was like, And the next thing I know, I wake up in the leaf fold, and I'm pooping and I'm puking charcoal, and I got two nurses looking at me the whole time, wouldn't leave the room. I'm ass naked, okay? Ass naked. I'm 14 years old. And these two nurses are looking at me like I am the man who will sell the world. And I was just like, man, this is really crazy and awkward. So, come to find out that when you do something like that in the state of New Jersey, that there must be not one, but two people sitting arm's length from you the entire time in your room. You had another stint at another rehab, you had another mental health treatment center, you had another long list of diagnoses, you had some more medication, except this time mom and dad were really pissed off and they decided to sign me up for a clinical trial. That clinical trial was for a drug called Halcyon. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Halcyon? Okay. So in the state of New Jersey, I was in 50 clinical trials under the age of 16 for Halcyon. My mom and dad signed me up for a clinical trial. They didn't even know what they were doing. So I put me on Halcyon. That was different. So I went home, went back to playing sports, everything was fine. I actually got moved to East Trenton High School because Lawrenceville High School was done with me because they were just done. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to act. I was walking up in the hallways, punching on people, everything was fine. So I went to East Trenton High School. And so my first day of school, I'm walking in, I got my book bag, and I walk through, boom, boom, boom. I walk through this metal detector, and I'm like, what is really going on here? And so, and then this East Trenton cop comes over, he's like, give me your freaking bag, what are you doing? You got shit on you, what are you doing? Look at me. And I was just like, wow, this is really crazy. And I was like, yeah, I didn't know how to act. So started going to East Trenton High School. That's when I got into cocaine. I didn't really like cocaine because it didn't last long enough. It didn't make everything as weird as I liked. However, what I knew is the fact that I remember the guys at those mental health treatment centers that I'd been in, they said they liked cocaine and they sold cocaine. So I started selling cocaine to my friends because I had friends at the school I went to last time. They were rich, they had money. So I started selling cocaine. It wasn't like it was great big money enterprise or anything like that. We're not talking about $100 dick bills. We're talking about $10 bills, okay? Started selling cocaine, man, running around, thought I was somebody. Kept playing sports, and it was doing real good, man. I started playing football, and the hockey coach, man, he noticed me. He was our football, he was our defensive back coach. Hockey coach noticed me. He was like, man, you need to go play hockey. I was like, yeah, I don't understand. He's like, don't worry about it, I got you. So they took me up, put me on rollerblades, found out I knew how to skate, stretch and so forth, whatever. I was pretty good, wasn't great enough, but I could play. So I ended up playing winger, because all winger required was two things. Can you skate forward real fast? Can you take your stick? Can you smash into people? Yes, I can do that. Okay, so started playing winger, and then I also started playing lacrosse. Lacrosse was amazing. If you ever get a chance to play stickball, play lacrosse, do those things, because it's an amazing game for all kinds of things. Especially play lacrosse, because you can have people with a stick, get away with it, it's perfectly fine. They have it coming on, and you have a stick. Whoop on. So, so man, and not the apple of my father's eye. This is the man that I wanted to prove everything to. As sick as it's going to sound, what I discovered later on in my recovery is the fact that I was selling drugs and I was acting all out of pocket and fighting with people all the time because my dad had told me, if you come home and you lose a fight, your ass is mine. You better get out there and whoop somebody's tail. And the fact that I thought if I achieved something that my dad would be proud of me. So isn't that crazy? My dad swear, and I thought, if I'm selling cocaine, I'll do something. So, 16 years old, back up. When I was 15 and a half, I was not talking okay. I decided I was never going back home when I moved out. I stayed in school because I had to in the state of New Jersey. I did not have a choice. I was not going to be awarded the state. And so it turned out that I ended up, a buddy of mine's mom was like, yeah, sure, you can come live with us, no problem. Little dirtbag son of a bitch. So, and it was great. Yeah, well, she was Irish and she was drunk and it was just what it was. And so I moved in with them and they split the time between New York and New Jersey, right? And so me and Bobby, we pretty much had to run. And my buddy Eddie made acid, so I mean, and by this time I was doing acid every day. I was the guinea pig and I was happy to be one. You know what I mean? So, went on, so I was doing that, but I still stayed in school because I just thought that I needed to finish school. 16 years old, now, right knee, history, trash, gone. Played football, I'd been high stick the night before. I heard playing lacrosse, I'd been high stick the night before, and hockey practice, all freaking things, so we're playing state championships, and I ended up getting my knee broken out. Went to the hospital, yada, 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 and I left the hospital with a healthy addiction to opiates. And at this time, it was Demerol. And they gave me enough Demerol to kill half the planet, which was weird, but they gave it. They gave it to my mom and dad, because I was still technically theirs. And mom and dad gave it, so it ended up, and mom and dad gave it to Bobby's mom, who shouldn't have ever even been able to watch a poodle. And Bobby's mom was like, here, you know how to take these, right? No problem. I was like, fantastic. And so, needless to say, school went by the wayside 3 weeks after she gave me those, and I started a very short, very brief, very illustrious career as an opiate addict. I went real fast from Demerol to heroin. It's amazing how it happened, because it literally happened one day. I woke up and the doctor was like, "I'm giving you Demerol." I was like, "Man, you are a dick. I do not accept your attitude with me, sir." And so, and this cat I knew, from school, I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was sick, and I was, you know what I mean? Which, by the way, no, I wasn't. I also learned how to manipulate people early on. I was really good at it, because I have to be very charismatic exposed to this. So, I was telling him I was sick, because I'd seen somebody be sick, right? And I knew that he could get me drugs. I also knew that he wasn't supposed to give me, anyway, he wasn't supposed to give me drugs, because it was just a long story of going out of shit. But he got me drugs. He got me heroin, he got me a needle. He showed me all about it. First thing he did, he was like, smoke it. I was like, yep, okay, and I smoked it. Second thing he did, he was like, what do you think about it? I was like, man, I want to try shooting some of that shit. He was like, no, you really don't. I was like, tell me what I do and don't want to do. Let's do this thing. So he was nice enough to introduce me to a destructive force called the needle, and on we went, carry forward. So it was right about, it wasn't too long after that I found out that the girl I was seeing at the time was pregnant. I had no idea. So I had worked in restaurants during this time. I worked in restaurants, so I was just past 12 and a half years old. I started working in all these restaurants because New Jersey, they don't care what age you are. They're going to pay you under the table and they don't care. Because, right? Because that's just the only thing up there. So I worked in restaurants, started working in restaurants, thought I was going to try to do the right thing because, you know what I mean? After all, I'm almost 17 years old. I got all my stuff together, you know what I mean? I absolutely do. Every time I nodded out, I told myself, shit, I got this one. It's going to be great. Also started to do a 10-day A this time, irony. Daughter was born. I'm running around selling cocaine, acting like a complete total moron. run around selling acid as much as I'm doing acid, and of course, naturally, I'm also doing heroin. And as most of you know, you start to cultivate friends in certain areas of life, you start to cultivate the wrong friends in certain areas of life. And you also start carrying weapons to be around those kids. Mind you, the mother of my daughter, the mother of my daughter was valedictorian in high school. I had a way of back in the running. So, needless to say, she was like, all right, well, you need to get clean because you're just an absolute loser. And I was like, you know what? I agree with you. Because I thought I wanted to do the right thing. So, man, it was like this. I went to the morphine clinic. They handed me this little vial because in New York, again, and it's at this time I was living in Brooklyn. So in New York, they're like, hey, you want some of that? Here you go. There was no ID, there was none of that junk through, there was nothing. It was a morphine clinic, and you could walk your ass up there, and you could have been 5 years old. And they'd be like, yeah, take that to your mommy and have a good day, okay? It was wild. So I went and tried morphine 3 days. I didn't like morphine, and so my friend, who I was talking about, Bobby, anyway, who had been, who was the godfather of my daughter in the Catholic Church, because I become Catholic. I jumped out the window and I went to go get some more heroin. I was living downtown in some hard, you know what I mean? I lived all over New York by that time, because I always wanted to make sure I wanted to see the big city, and I wanted to do all that, you know. So I did it. And so, Mom and Dad already went back to school by that time. So I ran and got some heroin, you know what I mean? He made sure that he was able to find me, because that's the kind of individual that he was. And he brings me back to the apartment, get up there, Lauren's crying. He gets me back in there, and he pulls out the 45 and was like, check this, sticks to my head, he said, check this out. He said, I have no issues here right now, you know I don't. He said, because if you jump out that window again, or if I think you're even high ever again, he said, I will shoot you, and you know what will happen next. Because believe me when I tell you, the gentleman I'm talking about, it wouldn't have been any issue for my body to disappear in association with who he was and exactly who his family was. There was no playtime here, it was all serious. So when I tell you that I detoxed under fire, but I did it. You know what I mean? Because people that love you have a way of telling you how stupid you are, making you feel how stupid you are, and saying, you see your kid in there? Huh? Are you stupid right now? I'll never forget it. He was like, you really are stupid, aren't you? Stupid mother. Anyway. And I was like, yep. Right then. I kid you not. I was like, there's no way I have to take heroin ever again. No way. It didn't have to do that good. I did not care about my life. I tried to kill myself 9 times. At that time. Got clean, thought everything was gravy, and man, we're cruising down one day, we're going to Brooklyn, I'm working in this restaurant, I'm running, going to do my thing. I worked in pretty fast restaurant, so I was pretty good. And come home, he's like, hey man, check this out, come here. He was like, here's your plane ticket, stuff's already packed, we're going to the store. I was like, what? Whoa. What are you talking about? You're out of your mind. Like, hey. He's like, no, you're getting taken care of, and you're going to get on that plane back. Right now. He's going home. You're not coming back for stuff. What the hell you think you are? Needless to say, it made it real clear that I was getting on that plane. So I did. Left everybody and everything I left. To come back, go home. And I did. I didn't know Oklahoma, went to live with my grandpa in Eufaula. My grandpa, again, my hero, you know what I mean? Mom and Dad didn't want anything to do with it. Even though I was clean, I was still a great big disappointment to my father, always had been, and etc. and so forth. So I went to live in Eufaula. Okay, went to my grandpa. All right, I'm accepted to move to Eufaula. I was bumming around, I was working in a restaurant, okay? I met this chick, and we were talking, she's like, yeah, I'm a cook. I was like, oh yeah, I work in a restaurant. So I knew nothing about methamphetamine because it didn't really exist in New Jersey or in New York. Not really. It was all cocaine and all crap like that. Right? No methamphetamine. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I thought she was cooking a restaurant. Well, she needed a roommate, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, great, awesome. We'll be your roommates. Well, turns out I walked in, smelled like a cactus in a pneumonia forest, and well, she didn't have a cat. And you can imagine where it went from there, right off the top, and it was in the form of a UV, and that was it. That was the day the nightmare started all over again. So, ran around running gunner for a while like that. Learned real quick that in Oklahoma, the thing was you get high and you go rob stuff. And then you work on stuff. And then you steal some stuff over here to fix the stuff that you've already tweaked off over here. You go back and rob stuff because now you gotta cook more dough, because that was what was happening. And then you go over here and it was just a great big crooked circle, which I was more than happy to fill, because remember, I wanted to be somebody. When I was 14 years old, I told my sister I wanted to be an outlaw. I wanted to be the best outlaw I could ever be. I didn't want to let her down. So that's the life that I took on for a while, and it was completely normal and perfectly fine, and everything was happy and rainbows and sunshine and unicorns, fart and purple and everything else. And then it wasn't, because there just seemed to be a whole situation where things went down, things went south, and all of a sudden there was no more drugs, and there was no more way to make any more drugs, and everything got weird. So it was decided by me that maybe I needed to go to the United States Navy for a little while, because it was suggested by my dad that maybe I pull my head out of my ass. And of course, again, I had heroes. My grandpa, my dad, heroes. Yes, sir, I'm going to do that. I want to go to the Army. And then I went to the Army. And that pissed me off. I was like, okay. So he's like, can't text your mother. She'll worry all the time. Because I had a very overly fine mother. Sorry, Mama. But, which is to say my mother wasn't wonderful, she was, but whatever. So, went and enlisted in the United States Navy. I enlisted in the CAAIR program because, yeah, I'd watched that movie Navy SEALs and I thought, that's right, I'm going to be that guy right there. So I went to explosive ordnance disposal because it was either that or it was a diver. And while I still went to dive school, I thought cutting mines would be cool. I was sitting there in my recruiter's office, and I was getting ready to go through all their bam snagging stuff, and I lied, said I had no injuries, and I never had any mental health problems. And everything was just fine, rainbows and gravy. And I was watching this thing on TV, and I saw these kids in Bosnia being blown up. And they had their legs on, arms, and mines had done that to these kids. Wasn't too long after the Murray building. And I was like, the hell with that, man. How do I stop? I looked through the recruiter, I said, no, I gotta stop that from happening. He was like, sign on the dotted line, buddy, I'll show you how. Bet, because I passed my ASVAB, I had high aptitude mechanics, I had high aptitude, all that. I was good to go. Went to the Navy. Man, I was going to clean up and I was going to fly right, man. I was going to make my dad proud, my grandpa proud. I was going to make God, country, human beings, and every bird that flew over me proud. Went to the Navy, figured it out, what deal with it. Got through basic, surprisingly simple. Went through EOD school, even more surprisingly simple. Went through jump school, dive school, all the fun stuff. And it was great. It was fantastic. And I couldn't understand why, because I didn't do anything about addiction, but I couldn't understand why that all of it didn't mean jack crap to me. Nothing. Because it was there that I learned that alcohol was okay. You can't smoke weed, you can't do drugs, but what you can do is you can drink fish. So yeah. Balkan conflict was going on at that time. Again, the kids with the mines, so that's where I went. Spent some time in Bosnia, Serbia, Croatia, Herzegovina, East and West Africa, and Haiti. Came home, and I was in Maui, Naval Air Station Maui in Hawaii. And I was sent back because what I did is stressful, and I'd seen some stressful shit. And the military likes to rotate you in and out when you're under that kind of condition, because you cannot be psychologically impaired or profiled as possibly being stressed at this time, because PTSD is really not spoken. Stressed at this time to do that job, so they send you back and they give you a vacation. They do the same thing in war too. The Army does the same thing. They'll ship you, they'll send you back, they'll give you a break, and then they'll put you right back, stick their foot in your ass and say, get out there and get more people. God knows you. So, I went. I got there, and of course I was going around the bars and I was getting drunk. And one night I was at a bar and I was not drunk. And this officer had struck me. He was anyway, this officer had struck a lady. And remember, I don't like bullets. And I was in the best shape of my life. And I was absolutely sure of one thing. I was going to destroy this officer. Because my ego said I could, and I did. And needless to say, that's when my Navy career ended. Never mind the fact, honestly, in those days, that's not usually what happened. Usually, you did not lose your career line. But again, I did. My oldest son was born at this time. Christopher, and so I got to go visit Leavenworth for a little while after I was illegally tried, trumped up charges, but because of the damage I did, because of the training that I had, and because I was told that, well, you should have been able to control yourself. Well, your officer was drunk and struck a lady. Well, the officer not only got to keep his commission, but he got to continue on in the United States Navy unscathed. It's all right, karma. Suffice it to say, karma had a way to take care of him later. Anyway, Leavenworth, now, new kid, same life, came home, and I knew one thing. I couldn't face my father, I had a child to raise, and I absolutely needed to make money. Make the baby, and I knew how to make money. I swooped right back in, I said, hey man, who's doing what, who's doing what? Got into cooking dough real fast, okay? Wasn't too long. My youngest son came along. Split up with mom and son's mom because I don't hang on to anything, because relations with a female with me at that time was like water. Number one, I didn't need you, I needed you. Two, you were useless to me because I really didn't know how to love you or myself. And three, give me my child because I don't like you. I didn't get any of those things. All I got was I learned how to run methamphetamine, and then I started running with some people that were really nasty. Because that's the one that had methamphetamine, that's the one that had the way to make red phosphorus dope, and that's exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. So that's what I did. Got rounded up one night over a bag, wasn't mine, threw it under me, it was mine, yada yada. And that's what started my DOC number, 43108. I got 7 more charges in the span of 4 months. Started being a very big deal between McIntosh County, Pittsburgh County. They were wanting to get me in there, and you know, it's what it is. I mean, people wear wiretaps and they take pictures and they, you know, thanks, mom, you're on camera, and I'm like, so, got to go visit the Oklahoma penitentiary system for a while, and that's when it really got weird. I already knew how to take care of myself. I already knew how to act. I thought. Now, we're not going to sit here, we're not going to talk about affiliations, we're not going to talk about all that, because I don't talk about that. It doesn't matter. But what I'm going to say is this. I picked my friends, I picked them wisely, and I did whatever needed to happen in this story. The other thing I found out, real fast, is that that ends up earning you privileges. It's like an American Express card. The more violent you are, the better your American Express card better it is. So I was as violent as I could possibly be. And because I already knew how to be violent. See, in the military, you're trained that if you're afraid, or if you're sad, or if you're anything, turn it into aggression. Because weakness does not fit. Well, I didn't know that my entire life. My dad made sure I understood, if you cry, you're a bitch. If you come home bloody, you better turn around, you better beat that ass. When I was 14 years old, I had recall about things that happened when I was a child. When I had recall about those things when I was a child, I decided I was never going to be a victim. But now I wasn't a victim. I went to the Navy, not a victim. Came out, not a victim. Went to prison, not a victim. I made sure that I was going to victimize anybody that's ever going to try to make me a victim. And then what did I do? I turned around and I victimized people. Made it a point. Came out, didn't know how to act, got married to a girl I was with in high school. Thought I could live right, man, you know what I mean? I started trying to live right. I did right. I did real good for 3 months. 3 months. Started drinking. Never was much of a drinker, but it was always distinct. So started drinking, you know what I mean? I was working 2 jobs. I was actually working 3 sometimes, but I was working 2 jobs, doing my thing, I was going out, doing all that. Went in there, I was still on paper, I was on paper the rest of my life as far as I was concerned, so I didn't really give a shit. But I was going there, I was giving them clean UAs, boo, 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 takes me off on supervisor probation. I was like, yes, that means I don't have to UA anymore. So, as most of you know, when you get in penitentiary, you made a lot of friends, friends have a lot of dope, you know how to do, you know, now you got all kinds of dudes' numbers, right? I call them all. What you got, 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 and I started just going. Yep, because I had a lot of money. You know what I mean? I had plenty of money. So I started going, picking up dope, man, doing my thing. And I forgot that I had 2 beautiful kids. That all they needed was me. And I thought they needed the house. I thought they needed the toys. I thought they needed the this, the that, and all the rest. Never mind the fact that if I had just kept my ass working, all that would have come. But I didn't have sense enough to do that at the time. I had sense enough to know that I didn't quite belong in society and that I really needed drugs. So I did them because I didn't belong in society. But with drugs, I could belong anywhere I wanted to freaking belong. Because now I got drugs and a gun. Don't tell me I can't be here. So that's the way it went. I lost my grandfather in 2009. I lost my grandfather. I looked at my ex-wife and I said, listen, let me tell you something right now. Pack, go. You're going to want to go. You're going to want to leave. Trying to be honest with her. Couldn't be honest with her. So I spent the next 11 plus months getting her fully addicted to methamphetamine. Lied to her, said it was Molly. Said, here, you're going to try Molly. She's like it, Mom. She's like, yes. Here, try this Molly, it's great. Well, she believed it, and wham, look, made sure we're going to put cocaine in her first hit. So that's what I did. I had a construction company, and lost it real fast. Didn't tell her that. Made sure she didn't know that. So I was going to work that day. What I was really going to do is I was going to go sling dope, and I was slinging a lot of dope. Dope, because I love this. Sure did. And so went to slug dope, and everything was going good. We was going casino, and blah, blah, blah. And kids were taking care of it. And one day, she finds my needle, and she's like, oh, anyway, and I told her, I said, I told you to leave, don't you understand? You don't mean anything to me. You were a convenience then, you're a burden now. Adios. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling, when I tell you that I did not care, I was subhuman at that time, and I got more subhuman later. I did not care. Your feelings, your emotions, they didn't mean crap to you. Who are you? Am I supposed to care? Because I don't. I have children, they have feelings and emotions, they're beautiful. Other than that, if you were in my way, if you were going to stop me from my drugs, you couldn't be in my way. Sorry, it's business. And she was in my way. So then the next day, I left my drugs, my needle, and my gun on the counter, and she ran a 10-inch butcher knife through my arm. I told you I had a way with people. So that happened anyway. Long story short, she didn't stay very long. She left Christmas Day, woke up, she was gone, hit the bank account, took the cat, left everything else. I dropped the kids off from mom and dad's. I told my mom and dad, I said, you're going to need to hang on to those for a while. I had no intention on ever seeing my children again. I had every intention on dying. Truth is, I didn't have the balls enough to kill myself, so I was just going to do all the drugs I could till I died, Johnny Depp style, man. You know what I mean? And that didn't work either. But, so continued on, ran around, things got weird, blah, blah, blah. You all know the story, so we're not going to go into all that. Except, you know, drugs, man. Drugs, violence, guns. I love violence. I addicted to violence, so I continue with violence. Ended up going back to the nature. Can't really explain what happened, except when I went to the penitentiary this time, I made up my mind that I wasn't quite sure that I ever wanted to leave the penitentiary ever again. Because I didn't know how to survive in society. So I acted a fool, did what, you know, whatever. Did what I had to do. And they ended up letting me out. Stupid asses. Matter of fact, they gave me time back from the Class X's and Class A's that I got the first time I was in, because I hadn't been out that long. And Oklahoma had some new law. So I got 900 and something days back. And they were like, you're leaving tomorrow. I was like, to what? My case, I'll never forget, my case manager, Better Waters, he was like, hey, you better get your shit together, man. You need to mind, here's you ready to go. Man, I had to look at this man like he was sideways. So I get out of prison, and I decide that it's probably best that I don't live in a house, because I don't want to live in a house. I wanted to live on the street, and because that's what I wanted to do. I got with this girl that had been my son's best friend in Kingston. She was his mom, and she was like, you know, and I was like, yeah, you know. She's like, yeah, I got a great plug. Sold, you're sold. But don't worry, because I'm going to sleep out here. So ran around Oklahoma City. For just over 2 years. And during that time, I got my head kicked in. It was all bad. Wasn't as bad as 99. 99, I was shot in Tulsa, but it was real bad. But I didn't know what else to do. So, ran around, did that for a while, almost on the street, didn't know what to do. I knew I was sick. I knew that I was mentally sick. I knew that I was emotionally sick, because if I saw you, the only thing I could think of you is this. I definitely want to hurt you real bad. I don't care who you are. I want to hurt you. That's the only thing I wanted. If you don't have drugs, you're in my way. If you're in my way, I'm going to take what you have. I'm going to take it on. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to do it for your kids, because I want to prove a point. I didn't have any sense. That's what I did. I walk around kicking people's doors in, because I knew that if your family's there, the protection mode of your brain's going to go in, and you're going to get scared like a little, and you're going to be like, don't hurt my family, and then give me your shit. So that's what I did. And I did not care. So, anyway, long story short, all that went down, and ended up moving back to Deal. One night, the only time in my life I ever made what I felt like it wasn't a controlled vibe, but it was definitely on the tape. Bam! I wake up with a gun in my face, and my mom's preacher saying, you're going to prison for life! I was like, aren't you my mom's minister? They pull me out, throw me against the car. Steve Beebe, Medill Baptist Church. And he gave me the biggest favor that I could do for myself. He locked my ass up before I got caught. Took me to Medill, went to court, man. They were like, man, here you go. And they were like, we'll give you 15. I was like, hell yeah. Sign on that dotted line. Give me that 15. Let's go right now. Went back to cell, and something in me was like, what did you just do? And this old fart sitting there that I can't even remember his name now, so we're just going to forever call him old fart. He's sitting there and he's like, what are you doing? You just gave away your life. I'm like, shut up and mind your business. And he was right, so I went back next day. I went back next day I asked for care, and they gave it to me with a 50-year blind plea. They said, you want to go to care? That's cool. You got 2 habitual offender acts on top of you, because I have 6 knowingly concealing stolen properties. I have 5 methamphetamine charges on top of a multitude of other crimes, but those are the 2 they can give me the bids for. Okay, so they gave me 2 habitual offenders. They were going to be run consecutive, and the only guarantee I had is if I completed care, they'd take the 50 off the table, and I'd probably do 15 because they were just done with me. I was able to accept that because what I told them is what I told most of you guys. I do not care, because if I don't complete care, you're going to have to kill me. And I meant that. From all my heart, I meant that. Okay, care got here. This useless piece of crap. And Darryl Johnson were the first 2 people to talk. And I knew I was going to be okay. Because they walked over and said something to me. And I didn't think that anybody here would ever be able to talk to me. Ever. So I'm going through the program, I'm doing my thing. Get caught up in some noise. And I get my first extension. And as the cleaner I got, the more my mental health issues manifested. So, long story short, mental health issues manifested. They found out that I was crazy. Searched the room one night. I'd gone to work the food bank at the time. I had lunch time. Searched the room one night anyway, and all of a sudden they come out with piles of knives, and I get another extension. The day I signed for that extension, 2.5 hours later, I got a phone call saying my father had died. And I went down there and I did everything to kick in Robert Davis' door. And Darren White was sitting here, Robert Davis sitting there, and I said, I need you right mother now. Darren was like, all right, brother. And I sat there and I talked to Robert and I let him know what I thought about God and God's plan and God's creation and God's everything. And I went out and Robert, give me a hug. Robert gave me a hug, and I walked out there, and me and God had an understanding that I did not agree with his decision-making skills at all, but okay, you know what I mean? Okay, because I dared you to send the worst at me, and you've done it. Some good job. Because when I was young, I dared God to send Satan and everything he's got at me, because I don't think they have any balls, and they definitely couldn't take me out. I was kind of cocky when I was a kid. Yeah, I still am one. Hard not to be when you're this pretty. So anyway, man, so going through care, get through with all that, and 17 months I go over there and I asked Big John, I'm like, hey man, what if I wanted to be a doorman? All you could see was these saucer-sized eyeballs looking at me like I was stupid. But never mind the fact that I spent the last 18 months in class every day. I was trying to figure me out, and I did. I figured me out. I figured out that there's no way that I would to survive anywhere except working in recovery. No way. Because I just like it too much. So John was like, fill out this application. I was like, I bet I get this job. Watch what happens next, John. They will hire me. And they did. Hire me as a doorman. I don't think anybody believed it. Knew it all the whole time. Are you kidding me? Look at me. How are you not going to hire me for every day? So I was doorman for a little while. I loved it, man. I was working on myself and then I stopped. I met Michelle. I graduated in October. I met Michelle in March. We started talking on the phone. And we talked on the phone because that was a safe spot for her. Because I was weighing all my decisions out because, after all, I didn't really know how to be in a relationship with people, let alone a woman. Because before they had been used just once and destroyed, just like any needle you ever see. Well, that turned out pretty good. fired from there. But I kept pushing, man, kept pushing, and I discovered new things. And education gets you a long way, and I still wanted to work in recovery. So I did. I got into school, I kept working in recovery. Worked over in Arkansas, worked over there, been doing my thing, was still going along. And July 31st, 2021, I woke up to a phone call. And some dude on the other end of the line was telling me that my mother had died. That my mother had died. And I didn't know how to act for about 2 hours. I closed my eyes and I said, okay. I went to work. Because there's no way that I can live this life without having been able to pick myself up off my shit and take myself to work and say, I've got to show these people, man, that no matter what, you got to keep freaking going. And I did. I went all the way from being a PhD to a program director in 3.5 years. I signed a treatment center out there in Springdale from the ground up. That's not a private thing, I'm just telling you guys something. Because if I can do this, you can do this. One day I got a wild hair in my butt, and I was like, you know what? I need to email Miss Janet and say, Miss Janet, can I come back to work here? Because I've changed, because I have. And I really want to come back because I feel like I have something to offer. I have something to give. I feel like that I want to give you guys back something. She's coming back. You have no idea. I could have woke up with my head stapled to the floor, and I can promise you this, I would have been more. I would not have been more surprised. You know what I'm saying? And so, emailed me back, came in for an interview. Of course, I'm sitting there. You couldn't have drove it. 20-foot spike in my ass with 10 pounds of dynamite when I was sitting there talking to him. I'm like, and that's what we do. And here I am. Look, man, there's nothing about this life. There's nothing about this life that I would ever trade. Nothing. Because I've seen it, man. I walk around, I got bullets in me, I got knife wounds, stab wounds, etc. and so forth. I've done things that we'll never ever talk about. I've seen things that I'll never ever talk about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because what I do is I take that pain, I take that everything, instead of turning it into aggression, I walk in here and I tell you what I have to give, and that's strength and hope, man, because that's all I have. It doesn't take a fancy certificate or 4 years in college to be able to take your ass to a meeting, say, hey man, you all right? What you going through right now? Don't even trip, bro. I know. Are you on what day? Oh, you're on day 0. You're still, well, I got you. And pick that person up and get them to a treatment center and get over there and help them, because congratulations, you just did what step 12 says. The same thing that somebody did for you. Okay? I do not care if you are here to beat the court. I want you to beat the court. That's fine with me. I want you to. I want you to sit your butt here and say, hey, I'm going to beat that court. Yeah, damn right you are. And while you're here, my hope is that you pick up and you get something good. I want you to wake up and realize that if you beat the court system now, congratulations, you beat it for a year. What's next? Do you have kids out there? Do they deserve better? And more importantly, you deserve better. Because I do. I could never have even said that until Robert Davis and Jess Bartlett set my ass over there and said, hey, what are you doing? Are you ever going to wake up? Wake up from what? It's a choice, guys. It's a choice every day. Okay? Stop the stigma that we got going on out there. If you're sick, ask for help. I don't think you ask. Ask for help. If you struggle with mental health issues, get help. If you walk out of here and you struggle with addiction, get help. If you feel like you're struggling with being incarcerated for your life, get help. The doors over there are open and I'm always there. If I'm not here, go to the door manager. They have my phone number. In case you didn't notice, I'll come. I got no problem. Because that's what I do in recovery. Now I want you to tell me what you're going to do in your recovery.
Whatever it takes.
That's right. You damn well better do whatever it takes. You owe nobody nothing but yourself. Nobody. And I want you to do this for you. And I want you to go out there, and I want you to show every one of those sons of bitches that think that we're nothing, that we're going to be nothing. I want you to go back out there, and I want you to show them that this is exactly what I'm going to be. You understand that? Garrison Ferguson, what is step one? Breathe. He's no youth fan, so he's having trouble right now.
We've been with a person for alcohol in their lives.
That's right. Very good. Oh, you fans can't read. I want you to do me a favor. Every one of you guys, when you leave here tonight, when you go back to your dorm, I want you to remember tonight could be the start of something great for you. When you got here, it's the start of something great for you. And tonight, somebody out there on the street is going to die because they can't be here to have something great. Every one of you is worth it. I'm not here to save your life, man. I'm here to throw you for the life preserver, okay? That's all I got.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right, then. They'll follow you? Yeah. Appreciate the story, man. Appreciate you, man. I can relate. That's right. Okay.